Hey, Michael, it's Dan with Aspire. It's good talking to you yesterday with your admin. Hopefully, you guys had a fruitful conversation afterwards. I'm really excited about the plan we have crafted moving forward, sort of these 2 week chunks. Finish out the year with those, and then we'll nail out a really robust, strong unit plan in the spring. So this is your Michael folder that you've been doing some of the unit plan stuff in. I've cleaned it up a little bit. I put all this stuff you've already done in this unit plan MLA folder. Um, and this is the unit plan spring folder, which is empty, but we'll do that in the spring. But we'll start here for now with this 2 week cycle folder. So if you double click that, yours should look like this. We've got about 9 weeks before the end of this semester. So I've fit 4 2 week cycles in there, so like 8 2 week cycles. The best place to start is probably to click here on this 2 week cycle documentary or document. So these are your 2 week focus cycles. So as you can see, I've got 8 different rows, but it's 2 rows per cycle. So this first cycle will focus on the start of class slash right to learn. You can see the dates the first week and the second week. For this first week, I want you to fill out the strategy worksheet and fill out a lesson plan, and that's due October 25th. And then once you give me the lesson plan and the worksheet, I'll look at it, get you some feedback before the next week. And then sometime during that week, you're going to teach that lesson. You're going to reflect on the lesson, you're going to take a video of the lesson, and you're going to upload both of those by November 2nd. So let's walk through this in a little bit more depth. So next week, maybe even this weekend, please get in here and you can click on the strategy worksheet. And essentially this will look similar to one that we did in the literacy and the content areas a long time ago. I think that was even when you joined the program a little bit early. So this is going way back, but I've added some more to it. So I do want you to pay attention to this document at the start of a lesson. It's got some resources in there, some things to consider when you start the lesson, and some resources to explore. Don't spend a ton of time with this, but I'd like to sort of get you thinking about what do we want to see at the beginning of the lesson. And then there's some questions about that. What should students be doing during the first 5 to 7 minutes of your class? How will you communicate those expectations and hold students accountable? I want you to get specific here. What do they need to be doing? Hopefully they're coming in with this right to learn strategy. Hopefully they're coming in, you've got an image on the board. They sit down silently, grab a worksheet silently, begin writing silently, or typing on the computer, whatever it may be. But during that time, you've got to make sure that you've set clear expectations and you're holding them accountable. Are you circulating? Are you looking? And the second question I know complicates this a little bit, but in talking with your administration, they said there was a bunch of stuff that you needed to accomplish during that first 5 to 7 minutes too. I think they said like taking roll. There might be some other things you need to do as well. So this question sort of gets at what are you responsible for in addition to making sure the kids are doing what they need to do, and then how can you simultaneously take roll and hold kids accountable. I know that's tough, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. And then there's some other resources around the origins of writing to learn and writing to learn versus learning to write. I'd like you to look at those and then choose some of those strategies in the writing to learn versus learning to write. Say why you tried the strategy, what you expect to accomplish, what will you be looking for. This is important here. We're not just doing these strategies just to do them. What are you going to be looking for? What are students going to be doing? What are you going to glean from students? What are you going to understand? What do you hope to get from them as they're doing the work? It's not just something to placate them and keep them busy. You need to be circulating, gathering data around what they are knowing, what they're showing, and maybe what they aren't to guide your next decisions. And then finally, that last question is, how does this strategy fit into the beginning of your lesson? So you're going to do this right to learn, you're going to be taking attendance, doing all that stuff, but then what's next? How can you have a compelling hook, something very interesting, building off of that right to learn that will get you into your lesson, right? We want to make sure that this is cohesive. We want to make sure that kids are coming off a cool activity. They get more excited by some sort of hook that then goes into the actual content that they're working on. So that's that reflection. In addition to the reflection, I want you to turn in a lesson plan. We have a document here. We think it's pretty strong, so I'd like you to use this one. And typing this directly into Google Drive would be easiest for everybody. Standards are here. Please pull some of those out. Essential question. What's your essential question for this lesson? Learning objectives, language demands, and then sort of the teacher actions, student actions by time, assessment differentiation. We'd like to see all these things in there. What resources you're going to use. So this is a robust planning document. Of course, we're only going to be looking at really honing in on the first 5 to 7 minutes of this, but you need to plan out this entire lesson. And again, when you turn in the reflection and this lesson, I'll give you feedback before you actually teach it. Do not teach the class until you get feedback from me. Cool. So then that's that first week. You've turned in the worksheet we looked at, the lesson plan we've worked at. That's due October 25th. That gives me a few days to look. I'll get feedback to you. Then that next week, you're going to teach it. When you teach it, make sure you record it. Make sure you take the Athena video. You can just take the 5 to 7 minutes. You can let it roll longer, whatever you want to do, but I'll be really paying attention to the beginning of the lesson and what follows the right to learn, the hook. How are you going to bridge from that into the other content? But then after you video it, you also fill out this reflection, just based on how did things go. Both how did the first 5 to 7 minutes of class go? How did the writing strategy go? And how does this sort of shape your thinking moving forward? Cool. So that would be the end of the first cycle. I would look at that, we'd debrief, then you'd launch on the next cycle. We're actually going to go from the start of class to the very end of class and make sure that we have mastery checks built in there. And then the last 2 cycles we'll fill in with the middle of class, focus on reading strategies for that 3rd cycle and student talk for that 4th cycle. So as of right now, I don't have the stuff in cycle 2, 3, or 4, but cycle 1 is ready to go. So open this document that looks like that. All the other stuff that I mentioned is in that cycle document as well, but it's linked to here and from the other documents within there. So just to reiterate, by October 25th, I need the strategy worksheet, this one, and I need the lesson plan, this one. Then I'll give you feedback. The next week, you will teach the lesson, you will record it and upload it to Athena, you'll reflect on it, and that'll be due November 2nd. Then I'll send out another video like this ahead of the 2nd cycle. Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns. I'm excited for this. I think it'll be cool. Thanks.